Ben?
Yep, I see it up there. All right, so I'm calling the Community Development Committee meeting on August 19th, 2020 at 7 p.m. The rescheduled meeting from last week because our power outage. So we'll start with the roll call. Alderman Hawley.
Here.
Alderman Cantelo.
Here.
Alderman Mech.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Cazares.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. All right, I have no public comments submitted to me. However, I have my own little rant I wanted to get out of the way at the beginning because it's going to lead into Eric since he's already on the line. I'll start off with the Vermont bike lanes. I think it's no surprise that it's definitely not a safe situation between the Wyerton conversion into Vermont after the underpass through Western Avenue, at the very least, especially on the north-hand side where there's no parking and there's no alley and there's no driveway. So that is definitely a big concern that I've seen. I only have a few houses of my ward in that section, but I have people calling me from both sides of the street. And I know that the route was designed probably a decade ago, at least. As far back as I remember, I was barely a park commissioner when the Cal-Sag trail was laid out. I know the layout was changed a few times, but now that it was done, I don't think it's going to work just on a safety concern. I mean, I know Randy and a few of you have posted how absurdly small the bike lanes are, how unsafe they are. And I had a thought, there's might be a solution here. I just don't know what the easiest way to do it and go about it. And that's when it'll lead me to Eric in a few seconds here. At the very least, without causing much changes and costs, I was thinking if you can picture the area of west of the Hallinan Funeral Home, there's a street called Stony Creek, I believe, or Stony Brook. If we diverted the trail to Stony Creek or Stony Brook Lane there and follow Grove over or James over, put them on a residential street. I drove it today. Hardly anybody parks on both those streets and nobody parks on James, hardly anybody. And then they can come back. At the very least, you're eliminating the smallest section on Vermont Street, which is the biggest safety concerns and the parking concerns would be alleviated just by doing that. And since they're residential streets under our jurisdiction, it's not hard to redirect that. We would just have to get approval from the Cal-Sag Trail group and whoever else we have to talk to. But at the very least, we're not building anything new. We're just restriping, get them off Vermont Street for those 3 blocks where it's a big safety concern. It's literally non-existent. If nobody else has driven this section, I'd say the bike lane in some sections is only 3 feet wide. I know, Randy, what do you think? 3-4 feet wide at the most? If he's still on here, I know.
I'm not even sure it's that.
It's not, and it's in the right of way too. And most of that section is in the road right of way, especially when you get close to City Hall and past towards Dunkin' Donuts. It's in the right of way. You're sharing the lane with the bikers and the cars. So I just had the thought, and I wanted to bring in, because Eric is also off the agenda as an update. And I briefly spoke to him earlier. I mean, there's at least a few letters we can send out to try to do this. I just wanted to see how the committee felt in doing this, because I just think it's a problem, and there might not be a solution, but there might be a way that we can divert it in-house, maybe even if it's a spur, and we can leave the Vermont stuff there and put signage up, go down this street instead. And most people in their right mind are going to go down a less busy street anyway, especially when it's closer to the Cal-Sag. So I just wanted to see the committee's feedback on that. And then I could bring Eric on, because he's got to discuss some other things also, but he has maybe a possible starting point where we can fix this problem. So I'll open it up to my committee. Do you have any suggestions just to get the dialogue started, or my idea of diverting?
I think your idea is fine. I'm not sure why they changed that. I know at one point it was supposed to come up Old Western, but they didn't want people going up that hill, which is a one-way down. Mm-hmm. And that I understood, but I thought they were going to bring it up on Artesian or something like that.
And that was I drove next to Eagles today, and that'd be perfect. Nobody, nobody parks on the west side of Artesian at all. And if you put the bike lane on that side, and there's hardly any cars ever, especially during the daytime, on the east side of the street along Eagles Hall. I mean, there's other possibilities.
Right.
Again, remove a big section of that safety issue between that point and Stony Brook. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I have actually seen a fair number of bikers on that path, though, on Vermont Street. That's kind of interesting. They seem to make it. I mean, I was in Oak Park for a meeting for work not too long ago, and they're so bike conscious, but they put these bike lanes anywhere. At one point, it was right in the middle of the eastbound lane on some street I was on, Ontario or something like that. It's just that I think it's more of a go this way on your bike. But I mean, on Vermont, if you're going west, there's people parked there all the time, and it blocks the thing completely.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. And those people do not have an alley, garage, or driveway.
Yeah, they have no other choice.
Nothing. And there's no parkway to expand Vermont Street. It's non-existent. So I'd like to see if Eric if we can do this without complicating things too much. Everything's complicated too much, but I'm thinking if we can try to do that, there's plenty of room to at least eliminate the highest safety issue, parking issue section of that. And I did witness a biker on Ashland and 138th where the trail turns around there, or Spur does or something. I don't know. There's bike things on the street. Was hit by a car in front of me on the way to work yesterday. It's the same situation. They're sharing the right of way, and I don't want that happening right in the middle of town here. And I know I see tons of bikers, and it brings me other things I brought up later in the agenda today about doing some more to support the bikers in town. But I've seen tons of bikers in my neighborhood. I'm right behind Old Western. I'd say on a daily basis, I see just a few in my few times in and out of the house from work. So it's definitely increased the amount of bikers through town. So it's doing what it's meant to do. Bringing people to town here. It's just that safety issue up there is really concerning me. So any other aldermen? Otherwise, I'm going to have Eric talk about this and possibly the other things he wanted to bring up.
I think it's a great idea, Fred.
All right, Eric, did you want to, I briefly 5 minutes talked to you hours ago. We could start with a letter you said or something to the director.
Sure, yeah, exactly. Alderman Bilotto, so this is Eric Alvarez with Robinson. The way I would recommend to start is we could trace out the route you just described on an aerial, and then we can take it to Dave Landwehr, who's our coordinator for the Cal-Sag Trail West project, and just start there. Give him a simple markup, tell him what the concerns are, and go from there. So with the narrow lane widths as well for the bike lane, I just was hoping you all could clarify too. So I'm looking at the actual contract plans for the project, and the bike lane widths seem to vary between 6 feet and 5 feet. And it says right here on the plan sheet in the area where we're talking about, they should be 5 feet minimum. Are we talking about the width of the bike lanes, or are we talking about where there are where there are shared lanes, where there's no dedicated bike lane? It's just a symbol kind of painted on the right-hand side of the lane.
On that section, it's mostly shared. It's mostly
okay.
shared.
So we're talking, the concern is for the shared lanes, right?
Yes.
Basically, and the narrow width of them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would recommend, Alderman Bilotto. We just trace this out. We do a quick draft of a letter with some of the concerns, and then we'll see what they say.
I appreciate it. And then I'm gonna turn it into, you wanted to discuss the grants one more time that you were working on, and I think that's it for this agenda, right?
Sure, that's definitely it for me. Yep. So I just wanted to give you all a quick update on the ITEP grants. At the last Community Development Committee meeting, we discussed a number of different projects, and since then we have fleshed out quite a bit of them. And I was just hoping to go through quickly with you all the different projects, the likely budgets, and what working with Alderman Bilotto and some of the other city staff, what we've kind of come up with as a suggested project. So again, I'll just go through these quickly. We looked into a pedestrian bridge over the CSX tracks at by Eisenhower High School. We even found through Lochner, the city's bridge engineers, a couple of feasibility studies that had been done for those projects, which included cost estimates. And basically the cost for the pedestrian bridges are well over the $2 million maximum amount
Okay.
for the ITEP grant. So, so I don't think those are really a good, I mean, they're definitely, I can see the concern, I can see the need for the project, but for the ITEP grant, the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, it's those projects would be well over the funding amount. We looked in the All-Worm Drive Bike Trail, which goes through the Cook County Forest Preserves and uses the site of the fallen over Blue Bridge. And we had done a cost estimate in 2017, which as well was well over the $2 million ITEP grant. We are working with Cook County. At least after that project, they had indicated they wanted to demolish the bridge for us, which would bring it closer. But even with the bridge demolition, I think it would be well over that grant amount. Okay, we looked at some streetscape ideas for Western and Old Western, and basically came up with, because of the scoring criteria and the amount of local match available, we should definitely focus on pedestrian projects, because potentially won't have to do much, if any, local match. And the suggestion was to look at fixing up pedestrian access for Western Avenue, especially north of 127th, between 127th and 119th, where there are very few crosswalks and some serious deficiencies with being able to cross Western Avenue there. So wanted to get the committee's thoughts on that.
No, I support it. And like I mentioned to you earlier, as long as we're not doing double work, for God willing, we get a two-way Western Avenue, or the streetscaping, which we, God willing, should be starting soon, hopefully next year. We're not doing double work by tearing up whatever you're writing into this grant. And I think you assured that's not going to be the case. So I'm satisfied with that.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Then just to kind of tell you what I'm thinking as far as avoiding double work with Western Avenue. So the Western Avenue two-way project basically stops at 127th Street, but the 127th Street intersection of Western Avenue and Gregory, that whole kind of that whole area there is going to need to be heavily reconfigured to make Western Avenue two-way. So I would recommend staying away from that particular intersection, because like Alderman Bilotto says, even though it's a long-term project, if in 5-10 years that project gets going, whatever we do there will likely be ripped out anyway.
So what are you looking at doing? Just crosswalks or replacing sidewalks, or like what's part of this?
Okay,
grant?
we've been going through with some detail here. But basically the idea would be for new high visibility crosswalks, potential for raised medians to narrow the roadway. And I got a whole list of these. I can read them off to you if that's, Alderman Hawley, with that.
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, just some ideas. Like
Okay,
if you
sure.
have-
So,
if you have intersections and stuff like that too, it'd be.
yep. So we're looking at, so curb ramps, median refuge islands, high visibility pavement marking and signs for Western Avenue at 120th, 121st, 121st Place, Grunwald, Collins, basically going south. Again, I think we should stay.
Okay.
And I think we should stay away from the 127th Street intersection, at least with anything that's like, with anything that's going to like be pavement modification or sidewalk, if it's striping upgrades and stuff like that, they're only going to last 5-10 years. I think those are good, but like the actual concrete flat work, I think would be smart to stay away from 127th Street intersection. We're looking at Western and Orchard, Western and 122nd by the Aldi, raised medians to narrow the roadway at Burr Oak. Sorry, we got Burr Oak and Artesian here. I don't know if that's going to be too close to the Western Avenue project. And we've also got Western between Lewis and Vernon. Same high visibility crosswalks, pedestrian signs, and fixing up the existing crossings at Western and 123rd. And yeah, if we have the budget, hopefully adding some electronic speed signs. And if if the budget's there as well, we'd also be looking to do that Vincennes road diet, where we would have, we would narrow Vincennes, create a two-way left turn lane and bike lanes to calm the traffic on Vincennes between 119th and 127th, which is has been brought up many times as people speed too much down it. I think
I don't
that's
wanna
this.
forget-
Isn't that a county or a state road?
Vincent, both
Oh, yeah,
Vincent
everything's
and Western
supposed to be-
Avenue are IDOT. So
IDOT,
state
yeah.
state roads, yep.
So is Western.
So is Western, exactly.
I don't want to forget about the speed lights that we discussed out of a separate grant, Eric. You're supposed to bring that up soon to us again for the school zones.
Right, so I think what we could do to be smart about the electronic speed signs is focus on the areas outside of the school zones, because we're all hoping that this fall, there's a safe routes to school call for projects, and we can apply for electronic speed signs at using that grant.
Okay. All right, does the committee have any questions for Eric?
I don't have any questions, but I was driving somewhere, I don't remember where it was, and they had those school speed signs. And I was actually doing the speed limit, which is kind of hard to believe in the first place, but it's actually, it said thank you, which I thought was nice.
Nice. So we'll get a polite
I've
speed
never
signs
seen one
for
say
sure.
thank you. It's just usually flashing in your face. So I thought that would be nice if you could get one that did that. Western
Right
Avenue, Western Avenue is a drag strip sometimes.
Yeah. All right, nothing else for Eric. I think we're good with Eric, right? We're good? Any other
You
questions?
know, I was just hoping for your guidance, and from the committee's guidance that we took this to municipal services and they asked to kick it back to you all. Should we be going back to municipal services with this, or should we be taking this now to finance to get the grant application going once they approve?
You already sent it to municipal once. I mean, you sent it to finance, I think. You already went over all this with municipal already once, right?
Well, we did, but the municipal services committee meetings, like we've been having like 30 seconds to discuss this stuff. It's not like these meetings because they come right before city council.
Yeah.
Maybe we could go to finance and then,
Send it to finance then. That's fine.
okay.
We've gone
Okay,
through the
understood.
ringer on this, so, yeah. All right.
Understood.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm gonna jump that I saw Miss Madrigal's on here. I'm gonna jump to her mural. I'm trying to look at the number.
6.
Nancy.
Number 6. Either Howard, do you want to open this up or do you want me to turn it over to Miss Madrigal?
We could turn it over to her.
Miss Madrigal?
You're on mute.
Hi, thanks. We have a idea that we'd like to create a mural over here on Broadway in California at the corner store through Bethel Church. But we have an artist, Anthony Rico, who's from Los Angeles, and he's been doing murals for years. And he works with, all kinds of community organizations and schools and you name it. And he'll help them lay out a mural and have the community paint it. And so I talked to the owner about the idea, and he's all right with it. He wants to okay the drawing. And at this point, we don't have a sketch to show you today, but it's a community-minded picture. It's something and I haven't got a drawing for you, so what I might tell you might not be accurate on the display, but he's done work where, say for example, he's done scenes where there's a whole group of people in the painting that are working on a garden together. Children, adults, and such like in this mural. And it can be really, really simple, or it can have a little bit more combination of colors and things like that. But what happens is usually what he does is he'll outline it. he'll do the opposite of what Potman did, basically, is he'll outline it and he'll allow the people in the, in the neighborhood, the community to draw and paint in the, it's like kind of paint by number, because he'll create a sheet and the number blue, for example, will be number 1 or something like that. And then they just start painting in and filling it in.
This sounds great, and I'm 100% supportive of this, and I want to, if we can just, however we want to communicate, Ms. Madrigal, I know you guys have my number, and also William Cazares and Howard. We can set up where we put barricades out there. We can plan with the city for safety, have the police or fire, whatever you want. I like the idea. I love the idea. And if you're looking for funding, just like I did with the one on Broadway, I'm sure some of us can kick in for that. I know that just a rough idea is probably something the committee is going to want to see. But again, that's up to interpretation, just like we did on Broadway. You know, I know that one changed from the original one, but that's artist license, right? And if the community is the license, the artist, so we know that's going to happen. But I'm glad you brought this to us, and anything you need, I think we can support. And I don't know if Howard needs anything. Howard, you want to chime in at this point? Do you need anything?
Not necessarily. I provided to everybody over the weekend the perspective ideas that she's proposing, Nancy, that she forwarded to me via email a while ago. So that's the kind of theme she's looking at, possibly. So like in the future, if something is proposed, just provide me with a copy and I could share it with the committee.
Yeah, I remember many years ago, we had, I don't even know how many years ago, it's probably like 25 years ago or so, we had tried this idea of putting a mural up and working it under the railroad, and then we had problems with the railroad not, being too happy about that idea. But the idea even back then was that it was something that was positive, something that kind of was inclusive. Like, in other words, like if we do the mural, I'm not 100% sure what is rolling in his head, but like it has people from different ethnicities in it. But the idea, and I think the theme is working together in some fashion, some way that it's positive, some way that it just is encouraging. That's basically, trying to put something forward that's encouraging.
Nancy,
All right,
I support you. If you need anything, let me know.
All right, thank
I'm not
you.
the artist. I can't draw, but I will help you.
So it's on here for approval. We can tentatively approve this. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second it.
Second by Cantello. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Like I said, Ms. Madrigal, as this progresses, let us know. And
Right.
I'll keep it going on the agenda. If you need anything from us, we can figure out a way to make it work. So,
Well, thank you so much. And we will get back to you, and we'll get a sketch or drawing out to you to see it. And of course, the owner too, he wants it on approval because he wants it to be positive for the neighborhood as well.
all right,
Thank
no,
you.
sounds good. Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Aye.
All right, so we're going back to the agenda. I'm on old business approval of community development minutes, July 8th, 2020. I know Howard sent it out in the packet. I also sent it out separately. So is there any questions, or is there a motion and a second to approve?
I'll second.
Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Motion by Cantello, seconded by Hawley.
Sure.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. So
It
number
came
one,
up yesterday for Alderman Bilotto. Alderman Donahue said that because of the COVID, we're supposed to be doing roll call on these things.
really, all of them? Oh, man.
That's what he said. I don't know. So
We don't-
I'm fine with this, but
No,
I'm okay
he
with
made
this.
us in judiciary go roll call every time.
I tell you what, if there's a nay, I'll go back and do roll call. If we're all in favor, it's all aye. So,
All right, there you go.
All right, so new business number one, discussion and approval on the parking variance for Victor M. Lozano's property, which is located 1964 Vermont Street. for the new Mexican restaurant named Puerto Marisco, valet parking approved through the zoning. This is the old, what was it called? Must have been many things. When I was growing up, it was a auto body shop, but it's the northeast corner of Vermont and Division across from Danny's Market. So Howard, did you want to give a brief explanation on this?
Yes, so the property owner, his name is Victor Lozano, is interested in opening up a new restaurant, which he's gonna own. That's his property, so it's not gonna be leased out to another entity. He was aware from the last restaurant, La Serena, Mexican restaurant, that they weren't very hospitable to the community, especially with people parking anywhere on the residential sidewalks or streets and what have you. So he was aware and he knew he had to go to the zoning board of appeals for a parking variance for 8 parking spaces. His review took 2 meetings. It was tabled for more information, especially on the valet parking part of it. The idea is this. He has reduced the internal seating from 100 seats to 72 to lower the variance request. He's proposing for 11 parking spaces directly behind his building that's on site, with another 7 parking spaces either on the side street right next to the building, 1964 Vermont on Division, or have valet parking to the Fulton Street lot. The idea is very simple. During the weekdays, if there's not a lot of customers, there won't be any valet service requested by the restaurant. If it's for a special event or a special holiday that falls on a weekday, they will do valet parking. On Saturday and Sunday, they will be doing valet parking, busier nights. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the idea was reduce the parking requirement, which they did. It's down to 8. They're proposing at least 7 that might be parked on the street. So they reduced it even 1 parking space more, and they're providing for valet. So this took 2 meetings. It was approved on August 6th at the Zoning Board of Appeals, with the condition, there's a condition attached to it, that they revisit the Zoning Board of Appeals 6 months after opening of the restaurant, the first day restaurant opening, to revisit the parking to see if it's working, and if it needs to be fine-tuned, the ZBA will require for other adjustments. Other than that, it's a straight parking variance for 8 parking spaces that were approved. And now it's just for your committee to review it and then hopefully to send it to City Council.
I have a
Thank you,
question.
Howard.
I have a question.
Alderman?
Back before we started Zooming, when we were at the last city council, last time we met at City Council, we talked about looking into the meters. What happened to that?
Answer, Howard, want to ask, we have a system set up to do this right now, but it hasn't become an issue just yet to spend more effort and time with limited resources we have to continue looking into it. But I was told that we have a system set up for the metro lots, the same system we can use in all the lots.
Yeah.
All electronic on an app now. So it's up to us if we want to put signage up and enforce that.
Yeah, we do that on Western Avenue as well. I thought too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I've been to Lake Geneva and they use some kind of meter system and they make a lot of money from it. So I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I agree. It's still on the agenda, on the back burner. I have a huge list here. I just don't put everything on the agenda anymore because it'd be 50 things on there and then nobody's going to show up and I won't have a quorum. So I learned to
I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea. Maybe people
No,
might not
it is a
like
good
it.
idea. No, it's not. It's not gone. It's just off to the side right now.
Don't, you're that teacher. You're just paperizing me. No, I know you work. That's a teacher in you.
So I like the 6-month recheck on this. Is just my opinion. My ward touches this intersection. There was issues with parking, more so in the 3rd ward from the previous restaurant. I foresee it being a problem again with especially Standard School no longer having accessible parking because they're remodeling it as a school. area. St. Donatus has mass at night, so they don't have parking. So it's still going to be a parking issue. I like the revisiting in 6 months and see if they're actually valeting or not. So, and it's quite a walk. I walked it yesterday from Fulton Street to Division in Vermont is a good 10-minute at least walk at a leisurely pace. 'Cause we're talking 4 or 5 blocks away. And the lot itself is, there's no lighting. It's overgrown. We really haven't maintained it because it hasn't really been used for anything other than snow dumping off Western Avenue for the last decade. So I'm fine with this because I want to see business come to town. I know parking is always going to be an issue, but I prefer business over no business. So I'm going to be fine with this. Is there any other Alderman concerns before I take a roll call or a motion? All right, is there a motion to approve the zoning variance?
Motion,
Hawley.
Cazares.
Oh,
Cazares and Hawley.
Yeah.
All right, question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 2, discussion and approval on a special use for Taylor Ali Ziad leased property, which is located 12101 Southwestern for his new business named Tires R Us. Car Toys approved. This is the old Sonic, I believe, across from Popeye's Chicken. Howard, did you want to give a brief update on this?
Sure. So the applicant, his name is Taylor Ziad, came to the building department. He was in the process of pulling a business license application. And when I reviewed it for zoning compliance, I realized that this person needed to go for an auto repair and auto body and fender special use, because there is an ordinance from 1999 that states when a person changes or the property changes ownership or changes leaseship, this needs to be re-reviewed or restated. So I explained it to Taylor Ziad, the applicant, and he agreed, he concurred. So it's a special use basically for auto repair and for body and fender. This will not be your typical auto repair or fender shop. This is going to be more of a place that enhances vehicles. They're called car toys in the industry, where the person could lift the vehicle, make it taller or higher, gives that effect, lower the car to give the closer to the ground effect, to upsize wheels and tires, to add LED lights underneath the body or around the car, to add a possible spoiler, and to do window tinting, to revamp an automobile's sound system if a person wants a better speaker or woofer, subwoofer woofer, and to also provide for remote car starter and car alarm. So it's a little bit of everything. Per the zoning definition, anytime someone modifies a vehicle, it falls under auto repair or auto body or fender. So in this situation, if they're touching the exterior, adding LED, or possibly down the road, do spray painting, they already have the special use for both uses, the auto repair and the body shop and body repair fender. So this was reviewed by the Planning Commission, approved by the Zoning Board. Both the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board approved 3 conditions for this special use, which I'll read to you. The first one is to restripe the parking area in front of the business building, both on Western and on 121st Street. The second condition was to provide for additional landscaping. We understand that Mr. Ziad is going to be leasing the property, so he won't be doing any intensive landscaping, but he's providing planters, and he'll change it according to the season, the plantings. So he's going to try and dress up the building with some landscaping to remove that hard effect look. And then the third one's to provide for a trash enclosure, which is facing, which will be facing 121st Street north. So those were the 3 conditions with the special use. And again, this was approved and reviewed on August 6th.
All right, is there, before I bring up the question, is there a motion and a second?
A motion.
Motion by Cantelo, is there a second? All right, hearing none, I'll motion to second just so we can discuss on the question. I have a couple concerns, but they're not deal breakers, but I'll let other aldermen speak first. Any alderman concerns?
So I have a concern, this Alderman Cazares, as I remember that building there has a really, it sits far away from the sidewalk, from the street. Will any of the work be done in this area, or what I want to call the driveway in front? You know, or will any vehicles be stored or put on display in that area?
So Alderman Cazares, that's a very good question. That was brought up by both the planning and zoning members and commissioners. The first question is no, all work will be done inside the building, and they're in the process of creating a new steel canopy right next to the building. So any vehicles that might be parked will be parked in that vicinity. That's currently today a chain link fence, and there's just parking for vehicles, and where there's like a demolition dumpster there that's being filled with garbage. So yeah, no work will be done on the public right away. It's just provided for customer parking outside of the sidewalk area, because I know what you mean. The one on Western Avenue, it's all concrete, and it kind of, you don't know what's the difference between the sidewalk component versus the driveway or area for parking. So that's the reason why I'm asking for it to be properly restriped to show some differentiation.
Okay.
So here's my concern, and it's not really a deal breaker because there's a lot of space associated with this property. It's management of space. I don't want it to turn into what's nearly across the street on the same block as Calumet Paint, where they're using the side streets, they're using the front. Every inch is being used by parking half-completed cars on the street. I would definitely be a no if it was South 127th, just because of the congestion. This location, though, has in the past, they haven't kept cars overnight in the front or the 121st side. Is there any way we can put on here that no overnight parking allowed on the west and north side of the building? So they have plenty of parking to the south side of the building where they're going to put the structure up inside the building itself. And I think, I'm not sure about the rear, but there's a lot of parking already built into the structure. Is there any way we can restrict it? Because I can see it becoming, in better words, it's a junkyard. You know, you're going to have 30, 40 cars being worked on simultaneously parked there overnight. It's going to be unseemly.
So in other words, what you're proposing as a new condition would be no cars to be parked overnight outside of the building area
Yes.
on their property. So
yeah, I'd be more conservative than lenient in this area, because we're used to, Blue Island's a town of the way it's always been done. That property for the last 20 years, there's no cars parked. It's like you would think it's not even in business, even though it's only been out of business for a year. You would think nothing was there because they were very clean with the outside of the property. Never was a car kept overnight. There were nothing parked in the front. They didn't put any flags out. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to other auto shops in town, they were underground. You know, you wouldn't even know they're there. Now, if you put 30, 40 cars parked there at night with flags and everything else that goes along with the tire shop, it's going to become a nuisance that doesn't exist now. So I would add that stipulation. I don't know how the rest of the committee feels, but I'd feel comfortable in that, especially with all this land. They have a lot of land, you know.
That's along the, sorry, Alderman Mech. Yeah, that's along the lines of my questioning. Is like, I want to make sure that you know, we work really hard to keep, you know, our city, our facades, and then keep a good curb appeal. And I'm happy, ecstatic that this is coming into town, but at the same time, like you said, let's keep it, you know, let's keep a nice visual for everyone that's going to be passing by.
Mike, this is Alderman Mech, and you know, it's in the 5th Ward, and we're having so much crime issues in the 5th Ward right now. And you know, it's near Thornton's, you know, which is a problem. What about extra lighting or some type of security for them?
I think we could stipulate all that in there. We can request additional lighting. And we can request after closing hours, no cars parked on the exterior of the property. If there's anything else you want to throw at it, this is the time before we approve it.
I mean, lighting is the best thing to deter theft. So I would greatly suggest they have exterior lighting installed.
And here's the good thing about that, Alderman Mech, and Howard, I'm sure, is already throwing this out there. You follow up with a spoonful of sugar. We have money that's available for matching grant through our business development district for lighting and signage and exterior improvements. So we need you to comply with these recommendations to open up. However, you can also apply for this grant eligible for additional lighting and exterior improvements.
Right.
So I like them. Is there any other things we want to add to this before we carry forward the motion?
I have a question for Howard. Howard,
Alderman Cazares?
where exactly are they indicating that the customer parking will be held?
You're basically indicating on 121st Street North on the side of the building. But they might have parking in front. So that's what's going to be reviewed by me during the business license application process. Also, keep in mind, if you look at the staff report that I provided for everyone a while ago, they're building a new semi-enclosed canopy area. So most likely their vehicles, if they're not finished, will be parked in that structure. So there won't be anything outside of it. And I guess they're doing it for security purposes too, which you mentioned. So I just want everyone to be aware that they're also adding an addition to the building. It meets the zoning and building codes. So that's not an issue. It's just they're going to be doing that too.
Yeah, and there's space behind the building too in one of your photos here. So they have plenty
of space. Yes.
with
Okay,
our
good.
requests.
Thank you.
So one other thing, because I know this committee is very particular about signage. I already mentioned it to Taylor Zayad, the applicant, and his attorney, Todd Walters. And we also discussed it at planning and zoning, that roof sign, they're calling it a pole sign, needs to come down. And I also mentioned that there's money in the business development grant program to do a monument sign, similar to what you have at the Dollar Tree store that recently opened up. So I'm also tackling the signage area, the signage that's there that's no longer grandfathered. So, you know, there's a lot of things in play. So they are aware that they're going to have to do some modifications to the site.
I'm agreeing to this. Is there anything else you want to add to the committee? Otherwise, we can go forward with the motion with these changes.
So what I'll do is I'll add these two other conditions. So now there's going to be 5 conditions, and then I will forward my staff report, my findings of fact, standards, with the minutes, planning and zoning minutes to the city attorney to create the ordinance with the 5 conditions.
All right, sounds good. So we have a motion by Cantelo, seconded by Bilotto with the additional on there. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, we have discussion and approval to purchase new trash cans from Doty and Sons Concrete Products. So it's 2-part things here. Let's just do the concrete product garbage cans first. I sent to the committee 3 different options. I like the town square option because the size. It can hold the most amount of waste. It can match the planters. That's not a problem. And if we keep it under the amount, we can get 32 to start with to spread up and down Western Avenue to replace the ones that are rusting away as we speak. And put some more on Old Western, put some on Old Western, none exist, and a few at bus stops north of 127th. So it's spread out. And we're probably gonna have to order more anyway, but that way we, just like the planters, we're starting somewhere. So I provided the committee with 3 different quotes. I personally like the town square model. We can get 32 of them. It's a side filler garbage can, not top fills. It's a side fill. So if you guys are looking at it, it's the one that looks like that. Okay. And they weigh like 1,000 pounds. So we don't have the issue bolting anything down, and they don't rust because there's no metal involved. So
And who's gonna keep them clean?
Well, so I talked to Jim from Public Works. He agrees it needs to be at least 30 gallons or more, which this one is. This one's 32 gallons. And they pick them up 3 days a week. And to give you an example, I think Tom's been around for a long time. He knows that this is done a couple times in our history. It's less maintenance what we're doing now. He has a couple times in his tenure as superintendent repainted our garbage cans because it's metal and they rust. These would need a lot less maintenance. He would just think of maybe power washing once a season, especially like after all the salt from the wintertime. But just to give you an idea, the same company produced the ones that were put up in the 70s or 80s up and down Western. I mean, Raeann, you guys remember Mike, they were like covered in rocks and planters and garbage cans. This is the same company. It's an Illinois company. It's local and they're guaranteed for 30, 40 years or more. So it's almost no maintenance to them, which is nuts. And they're actually cheaper than the metal ones. So that's why I've always been in favor of these products here because it's the least amount of maintenance. Because they're so heavy, they're not going to be taken by anybody, and they'll last for a generation at least.
And they match the planters.
And they same company made the planters, so everything would be matched, the same coating, the same color, the same graffiti-proof spray. All the quotes are included, and just like the planters, we're probably going to have to do another one of these, but we're spacing these out to not hit our budget so big out of the business district. Even though there's money there, we want to be careful with it because we'd like to again, take out.
And the 5th and 6th ward are going to get some garbage cans?
I think we can, there are 32 we can spread up and down, especially around the bus stop, the high traffic areas. There's none now north of 127th. There's 0. So we can maybe throw 10 north of that, 3 or 4 on Old Western and put the rest between 127th and Grove. And even if we have to leave some of the old ones up for a little while, the better conditioned ones till we get more down the road, that's fine. There's nothing against having more garbage cans. So, I like the town square. I gave 3 different options. How does the committee feel?
I'm good. Okay.
Yes, for Mech.
Just
All right,
for
and then what I'll do is I'll send this to finance next. So is there a motion to approve the town square model quote?
motion.
Motion by Cantelo. Let me get my agenda here. Motion by Cantelo, seconded by.
Yes, it is.
All right. Any question?
I just want to say that at some point I would like to see some recycle stuff
Yes.
going into.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I think that would be in our next. Order. We should be able to fit some of those in. I think the immediate need is having some garbage cans.
Yeah, I agree.
But I agree. At least one every few blocks or something.
Yeah.
A good idea. So, all right.
Can we now, sorry to interrupt, can we now just test run a busy corner a busy corner and put a recycling bin out there and see if people actually abide by it? So that way in the future, we have numbers and we know that people actually use them for recycling and not, and that way we don't have, go ahead.
I have an idea. We'll take, when these come in, we'll take 2 of the old ones or keep one of the old ones up, paint one of the old ones blue and put it right next to a black one. And that'll be the experiment.
Just so you know that Veterans and I believe Kerr both have recycling big, huge bins in their parking lot. And Kerr has one in their front, I believe. Yeah.
No, I'm in favor of that.
All right.
Let's finish. So is all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. That'll be sent to finance. So that's leg 1. Leg 2 of the same number 3 here is bike repair stations. So going with my earlier conversation with the Cal-Sag Trail and the amount of people coming through here, a suggestion was made by 2 of our businesses on Old Western Avenue that they have these in Lamont. Several companies make very similar models, and Howard and me have looked up a few, and they're both around the same price range. They're basically bike repair stations for public use. They have like tools attached to cables. You hang your bike on it, and you can use the tools. There's an air pump on there, and it's just very convenient, and it's something that we're encouraging more biking friendly in the town here. We have the room for it, and definitely on Old Western, we have a lot of bikers recently from the Cal-Sag Trail. So I'm asking. I think they're around what, Howard, 1,300 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, ballpark. I'd say 2 for Old Western, 1 for somewhere along the trail, Vermont and Western area. And these are portable. They can be bolted down, moved if we need to move them. If it doesn't work out in that location, move somewhere.
So why not one up like by Hart Park in the 5th or 6th ward?
We can. I was just trying to address the trail need right now, but we can. I was just shooting for 3. We can ask for 4.
I think we should shoot for 4.
23rd.
Can't
So it's
forget
the
the fifth, and-
committee's-
everybody forgets the fifth and sixth ward.
I'm fine with it.
Right, Mech?
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's the committee's thing. There's two of them. They're roughly the same price. Two companies make these. I like the one that they use in Lamont, down to the color. I think it's a nice color. It's like a crimson red. I showed it to both Rock Island and Blue Island Beer. They both like that exact model. And I'm thinking two on Old Western, around one on the farther end, but one on each end, generally speaking, and another one uptown. We could do four, another one around 123rd. So if that's something we want to do, make a motion and a second, and I'm going to put it into Howard's lap to get the final quote on getting four of them, and then we'll send it to finance. So,
I make a motion to get 4 bike repair stations.
I second, Mech.
all right,
And I could
continue.
also, I mean, Jane Healy, I don't know if she still has that bike club, but she used to have that big, huge bike club. So I could talk to her to see what she thinks, like whereabouts, like Hart
All
Park
right.
maybe or
Yeah,
something.
and their lead time on this is a few months too. So we're not getting them right away, but we got to get the ball rolling sometime. Yeah, because they're in high demand right now, especially during this. A lot more people are biking. So motion was made, motion was second on the question. Any question?
Just a comment. I love the fact that this is basically a marketing ploy to get, to promote our bike lane. So let's make sure we have we budget some signage that will complement those wherever we place these bike pumps.
I'm sure Howard, they probably sell it. The same company that sells the bike repair station probably has some kind of signage we can get Public Works to install.
Okay, I'll look at the two companies. I take it
right.
we're gonna go with the Dero.
I like the Dero. That's what Lamont used. Yeah, they got tons of them up in town, Main Street in Lamont.
Okay,
And it's actually a little cheaper than the other one.
right.
So, all right, motion was made, seconded, all in favor?
All right.
Uh,
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, number four is, I think, I talked to Jim Polster about this. Let me get the address. It's a tree that is native. It's not an invasive tree. The issue was that there was a concern it's being planted under a light pole line on Elm Street, which is just the one line. It's not even just one line. It's not a main electrical line where the ComEd companies come in and halfway kill the tree. That was the concern. Jim Polster said they don't do that for our street lights. They don't come in and trim around our street lights. So I want to just make it official. I didn't want to be the one to say okay, and Jim didn't want to be the one say okay. I want to send it through committee. The person on the address, she wants to plant a dwarf ginkgo tree. And I just figured I would let the committee know there's no process in this. So I figured why not put it on the agenda? I don't want to put his name out. Tom, I don't know if you know, she's brought this up to many aldermen already. I don't have the exact address. It's on the block between Prairie and Walnut on Elm Street on the west side of the street in the Parkway. And the only thing there is a ComEd electrical line for the light pole that's half an inch thick. So I want to just put the committee on notice that we're okay with her planting a tree herself. And if there's any issues, speak now. Otherwise, I was just going to tell her. Jim was just going to tell her because there's nothing saying a resident can't plant a tree, but we also don't have a process in place for that either. So I figured why not bring it to the committee so she can plant her tree in the fall. So just being overcautious. Is there any alderman concerns in that?
No.
All right, are we in favor? I'll just do it. Is there a motion?
Alderman Bilotto,
Yes.
should there be a conversation with, what's the lady name? Kehoe?
She's the one that was worried about the ComEd line. Yeah,
Okay,
big concern was the ComEd line, and that was clarified already.
so other than that, there were no more concerns?
No, it's a dwarf tree. It grows no more than, I think, 40 feet or something like that in 100 years. It's a slow grower. I'm somewhat familiar with trees, and it's a native tree. It's actually a tree that's not really planted around here. I have one.
Okay.
Well, it's a beautiful tree, actually. The leaves are shapes of fans.
Okay, and it's gonna be planted in the parkway, so the homeowner will be taking
Yep,
full
maintaining it.
responsibility of the tree?
Yep.
Okay. And do we need to get that in writing to make sure that that's documented in case issue comes up where someone wants to to the city for something with the tree, issue with the tree?
I think I'm being very cryptic. I talk to people all the time about the best time to plant a tree is yesterday, and the second best time is today. We're all going to be dead by the time this tree gets tall on a car. It's the truth. It grows slower than a Baroque tree, and a Baroque tree is a very slow growing tree. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for a generation to worry about. But it's no different. It's a hardwood tree. It's one of the better trees you'd want to plant. You want to plant the silver maples, like it's most common in town, that falling all over the cars. They're not approved trees, and they're a weed tree. This is not one of those weed trees, so we shouldn't have those issues. But all right, is there a motion?
Motion, Cazares.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 5, discussion and approval to create an art installation RFP by the Blue Island Arts Alliance for the former Easy Go gas station located at 12548 Southwestern Avenue. Kevin Brown. If you're still,
Hello, everyone.
there you go.
You got the kids in the background, so if it gets a little wild, I apologize. This is something we talked about at your last meeting. So like I had said last meeting, I was going to put together go through with you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, if you need me to read through it line by line, or if anyone has any questions, just let me know, how you want me to handle that.
All right, I looked through it. I'm in favor. I know Alderman Cazares, I think, gave some opinions on this also, a resident artist on the committee. Do we have any comments from Mr. Cazares on this?
No. I think other than, I'm in full support of it. I like the direction that we're taking. I love that it's going to be a community, another one, just like Ms. Madrigal said earlier, it's going to be another community-based installation. And at the same time, it's very well aware that, artists are important for our community, and it's going to be on Western. So it is, not only is it going to be a community movement, it's going to be a community representation. It's going to represent our community in a good way. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone?
No, this is perfect. Like I said, I spoke highly of it the previous meeting. I think once we approve this tonight, Kevin should get in a hold of Mark Miller and Carrie Horvath and see if there's any hopefully very easy red tape to cut through. I don't think there's going to be issues. I talked to Mark about this months and months ago. It didn't seem like there was an issue, but we could probably move this pretty quickly. So I'll make the motion on this. Is there a second? And then if there's
I'll second.
Okay.
I did want to say one thing.
Yep.
So I put on this RFP that, there would be a 3-week submission period. That was assuming that you guys were going to meet last week. So that would give us enough time. That would have given us enough time to, have a submission period, a little bit of time for the Arts Alliance to, review those submissions and then give that feedback to you guys. At this point, for your next meeting, we would have time for basically like a 2-week submission period, which I worry about a little bit. 3 weeks is even still pushing it, but I felt that 3 weeks was the minimum we could do to even make, or the maximum we could do to make this possible. This year. That said, if we do move forward with it, if submissions don't come in like we hoped, we could push this back until next early next summer. But I just wanted to kind of give that caveat that we're going to be in a time crunch here, because this would need to be approved. The submissions would need to be approved at your next committee meeting, and then after that, the financing would need to be approved by City Council, I assume.
Would a special meeting for, sorry, Kevin, would a special meeting for this be beneficial to you?
I only worry about pushing it. If we push it any further back, then we're starting to run into weather issues. If it gets into October, the later this goes, the weirder the weather can be. So it's like we're really toward the end of our workable weather.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so
I think we can call a special meeting if we have to. I just want you to get a hold of Mark and the attorney as soon as possible so we can move forward. If it's still like, we still got time enough to pull this off, especially if someone submits stuff to you right away or people submit stuff to you right away. So I would just, it's how fast we can push just getting the okay from the legal end.
I would, yeah. So I guess I would suggest then, keep your normal meeting on September 9th, correct? Would be the next one.
Yeah.
I would say I'll do a 2-week period. We'll close submissions around, we'll go through the 4th, and that'll give us, until the 9th to review these. And then we'll have those suggestions for you by the 9th.
Okay, sounds good. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
I don't know if you have a second.
Yeah, we have a second. It's Bilotto and Cazares.
Okay.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Did you have anything else while you're on? You want to do the marketing thing real quick?
Sarah's gonna have to come in for that, and she's taking care of the kids at the moment. So
No problem. I'll jump back in there. So
Thanks.
go at the end. All right. Thanks, Kevin. All right, we did number 6. Number 7, discussion and approval for a business development grant program application for Bryant House property, an unnamed coffee cafe, which is located 2421 Grove Street. This is the old paint shop next to Eagles for new windows and tuck pointing. I don't even need to hear it. Let's make a motion in a second.
Yeah, motion.
I'm going to give 2 seconds.
Motion.
2 seconds. Howard, do you have anything to say? Otherwise, we're just going to approve it.
No, it's fine.
All right. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
All right,
Second.
motion by who?
Will and me.
Second and Cantello. All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. On the question, none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's number 7. Number 8, discussion and approval for a business development grant program application for Jennifer Garvin's leased property at Edible Passport, which is located 13800 Western Avenue for a new awning. I don't like it as much as the one we approved. I also don't hate it as much as the other option she was trying to push. That's my opinion right now. Do you have any comments on the new design that was submitted?
Let's just say let's get it moving. I'm ready to eat there. I don't want
Okay.
an awning to keep me hungry.
Are you making a motion, Cazares?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right, any questions? So what made me be okay with this was that at least the Valiance part is solid black and not also very busy, but I am fine with the rest as long as we get it covered up and people will know that something is opening up there. And God bless you're trying to open up under this economy, and I want to wish you all the success. So I'm fine with it. Any other questions?
And I like it. It's like a passport. It's not like saying that they're going to have,
Yes,
hot
yes.
dogs and hamburgers and all that other stuff.
That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. It's the stamp, like the old stamps from the passport. So it makes sense. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 9, discussion and approval for 2 new wall signs with gooseneck lighting for Family Dollar, which will be relocated to 13054 Southwestern Avenue. Howard, briefly on this, but I love the gooseneck instead of the backlight, and I love that at least we will have one less vacancy on Western. I'm sure Vermont will be filled with something else, but it's a bigger store being filled. So I'm happy with those. I patronize Family Dollar. However, a lot of people do. So I'm glad that we're going to have one less vacancy on Western Avenue. So Howard, if you have anything to add?
Yeah, so originally they wanted to put channel lettering. They wanted to mimic the existing sign that's there by the current user. Of course, we don't allow for this in the UTOD, so it has to be like a traditional wall sign. So they're going to add the external lighting, the gooseneck lighting. The only thing I like just to remind, they're going to paint a red stripe along the side of the parapet where the sign is located. I guess that's their logo, their trademark. Are you fine with that?
No. They're gonna paint the stone?
Yeah.
No, I'm not fine with the painting of the stone. No. Shoot it down, shoot it down. No. I don't like any painted stonework. I didn't know that was part of the plan.
Right, because if you,
They're not going to paint that decorative stone part, are they?
yeah, they
I
want to.
think that's what we're talking about.
No way. No
No.
way.
No.
Right. So what I gather is you're fine with the 2 signs. They're gonna meet the square footage that's required by zoning. gooseneck lighting, but no red stripe anywhere touching that building.
Yes,
Right.
no paint on the stone, no paint on the stone.
Okay,
Yeah.
So this picture that you sent,
yes.
what is that? That's not even this building, is it?
No, it's an example because we went back and forth because they wanted to mimic what's there. So they were going to do your traditional channel lettering, which was going to be huge, and they were going to paint it red, a red stripe along the sides of the sign.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, 'cause this picture's weird. That's here.
Right.
So anyway,
So she understood where I was going with the wall sign, so that was the alternative that she was proposing to do. So she literally sent it to me on Monday, no, Friday of last week when we were still down with our internet service.
Right.
Over the weekend, I put it on the agenda so we could at least discuss it.
yes, no painting. Sign is fine.
All right, so with the changes, we have a motion, we have a second. The gooseneck lighting sign is fine. Actually, I didn't write down. Who made the motion? Do we have a motion?
Sure, me, whatever. I'll do
Motion,
it.
all right. Second,
I can second it.
all right. All right, with the changes recommended, no painting the stone.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 10, discussion and approval for a new tobacco-related business, Puff and Stuff Shop marked Mon Peter Samad, which would be located at 12601 Southwestern Avenue. Revised business license application. Howard.
So this is the, he goes by the name of Monty Samad. This is the same application that was provided to us in the last meeting, where the group here denied it because they didn't feel like it was appropriate. So he resubmitted his application to lower the amount of tobacco-related materials that's going to be sold in the store area. He provided us with a rough sketch of a floor plan where he's going to have other stuff. But you see it by the name Puff and Stuff Shop Mart. He's going to be selling stuff that might be a little offensive to some people. He already stated to me he's not going to be selling cigarettes, but concentrate more on vaping products and paraphernalia. So this is something that I felt like needed to go in front of the Community Development Committee for a secondary review. So whatever materials I provided earlier in time is the latest version of it.
I'd like to table this to our next meeting so we can have the committee review everything you submitted and bring back any changes if needed for the next meeting next month.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree.
All right. Motion tabled by myself. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Motion's made in second. All in favor to table?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. Number 11, discussion and approval, allow Cook County Health Center to install a new monument sign, revised text, which will be located in the parking lot at 12779 Southwestern Avenue to tweak the previous approved sign. I believe, Howard, that they're still going to use the brick at the base. They lowered the sign. Is there any other changes? Otherwise, I'm fine with it at this point.
So what happened here was there was a turnover of people at Cook County. So the person who's going to be installing the sign is going to be Madison Construction, the original entity that worked on the former Masonic building. So I guess that's part of their contract is to erect this sign. So basically they were ready to do it. And then something came up. The hours listed on the sign, they're tweaking it a little bit more to reflect 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Before they were providing, let's say, the regular people, anyone in the community to park there earlier, but now they're going back to the default of the lease agreement that Madison Construction negotiated with the city. So right before we stepped into this meeting, I looked at the lease agreement, and the times that they're listing on the monument sign is the same time that was approved on the lease agreement. So they're just going back to the basic hours agreed upon. That was the only change. They conformed with the idea of lowering the base, the monument base, per the committee's request from, I guess, 2 meetings ago. So it's reflected in this new rendering of the monument sign. Everything else is what was approved or what was approved by your committee, except for the signage, the hours. That's what's changing.
All right, is there a
Okay.
motion to approve this?
Can I interject something here, Fred?
What do you got, clerk?
There's a couple issues going on with the hospital in regards to the ownership of parking lot. And they've filed like eminent domain on the lot just north of DeMars. We own the middle third of that.
Yeah, I thought Carrie was supposed to send me something for tonight's meeting.
Right, but my question is, do we want to move forward with other things when there's other things pending regarding Cook County and our relationship? Just as a point of discussion.
Yeah, because they're the ones that put the tow signs up and they're still up, I believe, right?
Yes, they are. Yes.
So we can approve this pending the tow signs come down, and then the issue legality of the ownership is between the owner of the property, not so much Cook County, correct?
I believe, and I could forward you the email that Carrie sent. They filed suit trying to do eminent domain on the property in the middle, trying to play hardball with the city as far as usage of the lot. We're not questioning that they can use the lot. We're questioning whether or not they can tow people. We're also working with municipal services about resident-only parking from Western to Greenwood, basically from 127th to Vermont. I just question. I just want you guys to be aware before you make give them anything that might be something we can negotiate further. But that's just a point of order. There's some legal work going on in the background.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to the committee. I can go either way on this. I thought Carrie was gonna send me something because I have it on the agenda here, actually. Parking lot facing Western Avenue, yeah. And I didn't receive anything. So does the committee want to hold off on this stuff till we get some more answers?
Do we want to table this?
I would table this.
All right, so I'm gonna table then, was that number 12 and
Banner signs.
12? No, number 11 and 12, right?
Right.
Yeah, we'll table number 11, 12. Is there a motion to table for 11 and 12?
Motion, Cazares.
Second, Mike.
Mech, okay. All right, motion table 11 and 12. All right, moving on. 13. Update on purchasing. Well, that's obviously tabled. That's not even a motion, so I'm gonna email Carrie on that. Obviously, that's not happening. Number 14, discussion and resolution. Is Ahmed on the line, or do we have any update from Ahmed, Howard?
Not any written responses to me.
Is he on vacation by any chance?
No.
So I know Alderman Cleaker's been trying to get a hold of him about a house, and he hasn't responded as of this today.
Yeah, he's aware of the rescheduled meeting because I sent it to all the employees here about the rescheduled meeting for tonight. After I sent it to the committee here, I sent it to everyone else. So for example, Eric Alvarez is a good example where he got the email and he's participated in tonight's meeting. I guess he's not here. He hasn't provided me with any feedback on the former Maple Tree Inn.
All right, so then we'll skip over back to marketing. Do Sarah or Kevin on the line? If not, that's all I have for tonight.
There she is.
How are you guys?
All right.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll keep this quick. Just going through much of what we've been doing. We've been categorizing, trying to keep track of anything related to COVID, and that's simply because there's a good chance that the city can get reimbursed, I think up to 75% for some of this stuff. So that's why you'll kind of continue to see us categorize it that way to help take advantage of some funding that the city's getting. and we're still quite busy in that regard. But we draft weekly employee updates for distribution. That's happened each Friday. We filmed a total of 4 video updates, 2 from Chief Rita and 2 from Mayor Vargas. Those have all been posted to the city website and YouTube, Facebook, and BITV4. We update blueisland.org and especially the coronavirus page, which is blueisland.org/coronavirus. We update that daily with any information we might get from around the area. We had a total of 17,838 visits for the month of July. And historically, that puts us kind of in the low to medium range. And we've been seeing kind of a month after month after month of records, but unfortunately that was also correlating with some pretty extreme events and emergencies. With last week's power outage and internet outage and some of the things that happened around the city, we started to see an uptick again in traffic because people do utilize the website and social media as a resource. We also created that monthly newsletter that goes out in the water bills and of course update the city social media. So I did all the reports and the numbers that you'll see are pretty standard. I did have some time to pull, again, a website traffic estimate of the City of Blue Island website versus some communities in our area. And so you'll see that information. And month after month, when I look at Blue Island versus, you know, Alsip, Midlothian, Robbins, Palos Heights, those communities around us, the city website for Blue Island has the most visits by far. I also was able to take a look at some Facebook data related to reach and followers just year over year. And so you've gained a significant number of followers and your reach is just under 2.5 times what it was a year ago with every Facebook post. So that's important. We're able to utilize a lot of tools to get information to people quickly because there are some things weather related or maybe even like the water handout from last week that we need to be able to, you know, quickly get information out to people. And for, you know, that's where we want to try to get them where they're at when we can. We're also doing another update this month on Smart 911, pushing people to sign up for that. You'll see that in the next newsletter. So not only can people sign up online, again, for those phone alerts and other things, they can also do that at the clerk's office with a paper application. We're pushing census because now there might be some census takers coming around to visit homes. And so we want to make sure people are aware of what that process is, what it looks like. And then also that if they go ahead and do it by phone, email, website, or excuse me, phone, website, or mail now, they'll likely not have a census taker visit their home. So any questions?
No, thank you. I have an update along with that word on the census. Dave Johnson is getting his hands on for several thousand door hangers that if anybody wants to pass out in their wards, he should have very soon.
He dropped them off at my house last night. I got 500, I think.
So I asked for the same for the second ward. So I have his email. Let me know. I'll send it to you. But he's got stacks of these if anybody's willing to pass them out in their ward. And the question, I think we're at 58% turn in for census, which is it's not great, but it's better than where we were at 10 years ago. I heard their census workers out. One went to a friend's house that actually already responded. So I just was wondering if anybody else got any census workers in the neighborhood out there. Nobody else seen anybody out there yet?
I haven't seen anybody.
No census workers by my neighborhood, but I did spot a census worker on Vincennes today.
Okay. And the one I heard there was one by Eagles Hall, and I heard there was one on Oak Street, but I haven't seen any down in my ward yet. So it's good that they're out there. I just was hoping that we would know more when they were starting and notifying our constituents. All right, so that's all I have on my agenda for tonight. I do have one additional comment. Howard might know some answers on this. So Double Play was asking to put an American flag up, and it's kind of like dragging through getting a permission to put the bracket for the American flag on the building. And I know it's been at least a month and a half, 2 months since he's asked to put the flag up. Do you know why it's still not approved?
I'm not sure. That's a building question. like I responded in my emails. For zoning, it's fine.
He wants to put an American flag up, and it's like being dragged through the ringer. I got an email from him yesterday answering questions about what type of bracket would be, what type of flag. It's a lot of red tape for putting an American flag on a building. I would just done it, but I would bring those.
Why did he ask?
I know. He opened up the hornet's nest by that, but I think it's not my first time I've heard complaints. I was going to bring up some stuff to Ahmed tonight. Getting a permit's taking weeks or longer. It's just, we're not being very friendly to construction in town or businesses in town. We don't want to break any rules, but at the same time, we want to get back to people right away and process permits. If a company is licensed and bonded in town that has no complaints, if they apply for a permit, give them a permit. It's up to us to follow up. It's just a lot of frustration. I'm getting a lot of frustration from calls from business owners and residents about the process, how long it's dragging out. And I know COVID and we're closed for a while, but and then going hands in hands with that is customer service. They're not getting responses to their questions. So that's all I have, my little rant on that. But I just told them put the flag up. It's free speech. They got a Pritzker sucks sign at Harry's. Why not put an American flag at the flag? So that's my little rant. Any other Alderman concerns?
Hello, Chairman Bilotto.
Alderman Stevo.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Alderman Stevo here. Under Eric Alvarez's testimony, we would like to have that sent back to municipal service. There's a lot of unanswered questions we need to talk to him about.
The pedestrian grant?
It's going to go into finance, bring it back to community service.
What is that? I didn't miss that.
I'm asking Eric Alvarez's testimony be sent back to community service, not finance.
When's the next meeting, Mr. Steele?
There's a lot of unanswered questions.
How does the committee want to proceed?
Unanswered questions about what he talked about today?
When he came before the community service, it was a very brief encounter.
Well, that's up to your chairperson, right? They passed it, right? Correct?
It was very brief. We have unanswered questions to ask him.
I'm confused.
Alderman Stevo, when is the next municipal services meeting?
It'll be in September.
So you just want him to be there to answer questions?
That's correct.
But
Okay.
did they pass it to us? I'm confused.
They sent it back to us, yeah.
Yeah. Then we sent it to finance, correct?
Alderman Stevo, I will draft an email recommending Eric to present at your next municipal services meeting.
Thank you.
And I will CC you on it.
Thank you.
Any other Alderman concerns?
I have a question. So I got a complaint about the litter on 123rd by the golf course. I checked with Randy about the ordinance, but I guess there's not one over by the golf course for throwing litter out. Is there anything we should do or what I could tell these people in my ward? Because people are just littering pretty bad down by the golf course, like on both sides of the street.
Is it traffic or is it foot traffic that's?
I don't know. I don't know if they witnessed them throwing stuff out, but I guess it's pretty bad. She complained. This was a couple months ago. I called Teddy. Teddy went over there and met her. They even picked up the garbage themselves. But I guess that there's a lot.
There is an ordinance for littering.
For by over there at 123rd too, by the golf course? Is that?
I believe it's citywide.
Is it? Okay.
Citywide ordinance is not our road, so Public Works wouldn't be responsible for maintaining.
Oh, okay. I could tell her that. Okay, at least I have something better to tell her, I mean, because she was very concerned about all the garbage over there.
Yeah,
That's not our road. That's the state road. Is that right?
County.
Okay, county. Perfect.
But we can write a local ordinance violation if we see someone littering.
All right. If she sees something, I can tell her. Okay. Let me go back with that and see what she says. Thank you.
Alderman Bilotto, I have a concern. I went to Dollar Tree on 127th and Western over the weekend. And when I pulled into the parking lot, it was garbage everywhere.
A lot.
Yes, even the garbage cans that they have, the dumpsters, they were filled to the top, overflowing. So I did go in and talk with the store manager, and she was stating that when they come back in the morning, that's how it looks. So I guess people are going into their parking lots overnight when they're closed, leaving their garbage from what they're eating, putting other garbage into their dumpsters. It was really bad, real bad. So I don't know what type of help we can give them, or recommendations, suggestions, something, but it was terrible. It really was.
I've been there before too, and I've noticed the same thing.
I actually sent an email to Howard about having them put out garbage cans in the front, because I seen that driving by, and Walgreens always had garbage cans in the front because it's natural habit. You come out of the store, you throw the receipt in the garbage can if you don't want it. And a lot of them are just receipts blowing around the parking lot. So I already addressed that. I don't know if you got anywhere yet with Howard, but if you can tag this onto the same issue.
Yeah, so right before we lost power, I sent an email to Bill Shiner, the property owner. What I've learned is he's the best person to communicate, and he'll communicate with Dollar Tree, because I've communicated with Dollar Tree and they ignore me about, putting 2 trash cans, one in the parking lot, one at the entrance of the building, and to also maintain the property in a better condition, right? No litter. Because if the city starts to go there, the property maintenance inspectors, they're going to start issuing fines, summonses. So I could follow up with Bill Shiner to see where he is with Dollar Tree, because that's his property. He physically owns that property. So anything outside of the building is his responsibility, besides the person leasing it. For the
All right, thank you, I appreciate it, and then let us know if you hear back from Shiner.
I will.
All right, thank you. Any other Alderman concerns? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Cantelo, second by Mech. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we meet next month unless Kevin Brown brings us back some art stuff. We might have to have a special short meeting. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
See you later.
Bye-bye.